Alright guys, welcome to this video. We're going to be solving quadratic equations by factoring. If you haven't watched the video about factoring quadratic equations, guys, please go back and watch that video and then come back to this. It will make much more sense. Alright, so just a refresher. If you're given the quadratic equation, it's always in the form ax squared plus x plus c is equal to 0. So always make this quadratic equation into 4 terms. What you're going to do is get the product of the quadratic equation. The product is always a times c, and always get the sum is always the middle term, which is b. Now let's relate this equation. Let me call this equation 1 and call this equation star. Let me relate equation 1 and equation star. In this equation 1, I'm seeing a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, and c is equal to negative 2. So that means my product will be a times c, which is negative 2, and then my sum will be b, which is 1. So this is my product and this is my sum. So think about two numbers. If you multiply them, you get negative 2. You add them, you get 1. So those two numbers are 2 and then negative 1. If I multiply these two numbers, I will get negative 2, but if I add them, I'll get 1. So they're going to be in the form of x. So meaning I'm going to rewrite this equation like this. So I'm going to eliminate and substitute the middle term with these two numbers. So it's going to be x minus x plus 2x is equal to 0. So what I did is I just eliminated the middle term. But if you add this plus this, it gives you back the x. All I want to do is I want to break it down into 4 terms or expand it into 4 terms. So at this point, guys, again, please, I covered this in factoring. Please go back and watch that video where we're factoring polynomials and all that, trinomials. It will make sense. All right, so we're going to factor the first 2 terms alone and factor the last 2 terms alone. So looking at the first 2 terms, what is common is x. So if I factor out x, I'll be left with x minus 1. Looking at these last 2 terms, what is common is 2. So plus 2, then you factor out the 2, you'll be left with x minus 1 is equal to 0. Whatever you remain with in bracket, guys, has to be the same at that point. So that's a check. So we're going to write it once, x minus 1, and then x plus 2, equating them to 0. So if x minus 1 is equal to 0, if you take 1 the other side, you'll get x is equal to 1. And if x plus 2 is equal to 0, take 2 the other side of the equation, you'll get x is equal to negative 2. So those are the 2 solutions of these quadratic equations. The solution set is negative 2, 1.